We are freedom fighters fighting for change. Can we all say that? We are freedom fighters fighting for change. All right. So in honor of my grandmother, this is Lucille Christopher. She is the one that taught us to fight adversity with perseverance. So she worked 40 years in the same textile mill, and this was her job. And you can see this backdrop. It really kind of gives the impact of the textile industry, how long it lasted. Again, 40 years until retirement in the early 80s. So although I appreciate all the things that textile gave the South, since I am from the South, the decline really affected our families since they had to shift to other industries. I really didn't understand the impact of the whole change of the industry's decline until the mid-2000s, when I was in the automotive industry, the new economic savior, the automotive industry. At that time, I started reading about the predictions of outsourcing. So I started reaching out to a local consultant, asking him to pitch me a few gigs to test the waters. So in this time, he gave me the trashy jobs, literally. So I worked in about 2008, I worked all my side gigs, my flex time, vacation on this particular job. So I had to reach out to our leadership team and ask them to outsource me. So shortly after they gave me a contract, well, it was great. So they actually said, hey, yeah, we'll give you a contract. And shortly after, this was 2008, the bottom fell out of things with the Great Recession. Fortunately, with this job that I just outsourced myself, I had a soft landing into a career that helped me navigate uncertainty. It's easy to forget the past and get lulled into comfort with prevailing jobs and industries. The old notion subscribes to a stable path to growth. It's found in the underlying narratives of a career progression and the American dream. However, in reality, we find fluctuations in our economy with the ups and downs, and with anticipating in the new industries, just adds more skills you needed, and some become obsolete, and some folks get left behind. So this leads us to today, the fourth industrial revolution, AI, robotics, climate change, subsequent cultural and political shifts. The military has a term for this. It's called VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This came out in the military around 1998, describing a world filled with emerging tech, rapid change. So they realized this. The military was looking at this way in advance and looking at the world we have today. So it really reflects society. So given this crazy, chaotic world, how are we supposed to navigate this crazy world? So, of course, like everybody does, I posted a highly reliable study on social media. And the top answers were, whiskey, God, and spa treatments. Fake news. Anyway, I like some of these suggestions, but let me advocate a more intentional and unconventional way of facing change. Let me advocate the world of a freedom fighter. This is not to advocate efficacies of violence, fighting, or warfare, but understanding the forces that nudge the military in changing their strategies. Now, we can see some of the history, the Sons of Liberty, American Revolution, the Maquis of the French Nazi resistance, and the MKs of the African National Congress. So all these are great examples of that, and many others. some good and some bad. But they all have certain aspects that really drive a freedom fighter. But let me recommend a suggestion. Anybody have Hamilton fans here? So I don't know if you know that song, Stay Alive. The key to that song was Washington talking about what they needed to stay alive as a freedom fighter. So the three things is outrun, outlast, hit them quick, and get out fast. So those three techniques is my avocation to you of fighting this crazy environment. So how do you outrun in this new knowledge age? First of all, to outrun is to travel light, get rid of baggage. And freedom fighters, they don't carry a lot of stuff with them. So in this knowledge age, the biggest baggage that we all have is biases. And these come in different forms. There's different forms of bias. There's cognitive biases and there's racial biases and so on. So the key to it is understand these insidious weights that nudge us into our personal comfort zones. So many ways of trying to get rid of those is first is really recognizing these biases. One that I suffer with is called the sunk cost fallacy, where you hang on to an idea because you've invested so much time and energy on that. And sometimes you just have to give those things up, which I've had on many projects. And there's other impact bias, confirmation biases, and things like that. But some of the techniques to reduce your baggage is meditation. I meditate a good bit, but looking at your approaches and really taking those approaches and moving them on. So really to travel light in this knowledge age is to reduce your baggage by recognizing and decreasing your biases. To outlast, a freedom fighter needs eyes and resources, eyes on the landscape and resources, so they embed themselves in a community. So one of the key things I see is to create your own community. Look at some things around you and do one that's inclusive and diverse so you get a wide range of ideas and perspectives on doing that. So again, this helps you with your creativity and reducing your biases. So embed yourself into different types of communities that link those communities. Now, I've participated in a number of professional organizations over the years, and I love them. And there's a lot of good ways to connect and learn about new techniques and skills. But I started in 2010, I started a little group called Beer Napkins, and it was a way to nurture informal meetings in breweries and pubs. So I created this group to just discuss emerging technologies, understanding community challenges, and it's really provided me with some really deep understanding of things, but just the informal way and connecting with diverse communities. The last is get out and hit them quick and get out fast. So what freedom fighters do is they don't recoil, they test the system. They're always testing things and doing small experiments. I suggest you do that as well. So test whatever passion, just like a consulting gig I did. I started drawing a few years ago. We talked about some sketch notes, and I love those sketch notes up there. I'm a big advocate of visual thinking. So I started doing visual thinking. I went to a conference, and I connected with a very prolific visual thinker, David Gray, and he's mentored me in applying my visual thinking, my artistic skills into business communication. I would have never done that if I just didn't put that experiment out there. So I suggest just reach out and do small experiments, test a system, test your skills to build that. So, in short, conventional approaches may work. However, the key to it is you need to understand shifts still happen, economic shifts, cultural shifts and things. And to first, reduce your biases. Second, immerse yourself in diverse communities. And 3, try new experiments to build new skills. My wish for you is to have peace and freedom in your mind, relationships, and also your passions. So start your journey as a freedom fighter and to face change. Or you can always retreat to a spa, drinking whiskey, and finding God. Thank you.